Okay, so this is going to be my third attempt at trying to record this lesson, and it's probably one of the shortest lessons we will do. So the fact that it took me this many tries to get it, I don't know. I guess it's just the end of the year. Okay, so this is 12.2, describe data collection. It's a really simple lesson. It's not going to take long to get through it. So let's just get started. Okay, so you're making observations. In other words, this is what you're going to be doing with this lesson. And you're going to be looking at attributes. So an attribute is a property or characteristic of the item being measured, such as what's the color, length, weight. In fact, when we get to the next part right here, his hobby is collecting, so Jeffrey's hobby is collecting rocks and minerals. The chart gives data on garnets he found during a recent mineral hunting trip. So the attribute being measured. In other words, what is he doing? He's measuring the weight. So if you look down at the first bullet point right here, it says, the attribute Jeffrey measured was the weight of the garnets. Specifically, it says mass. Okay, so then what unit did he use? What measurement did he use? Well, okay, so he's measuring the mass, and he's doing it in grams. So they're being measured in grams. To measure mass in grams, Jeffrey probably used, okay, so we're talking about weight here. You're not going to use a ruler. You're not going to use a yardstick. You're going to use a scale of some sort. The number of observations he made, right here, it's numbered for you. So 12. That's it. That's all you're doing with this lesson. It's a really simple lesson. Okay, so here's another one. I only have a couple examples in this particular lesson. Describe the data set by listing the attribute measured. In other words, what are they measuring? The unit of measure, and then the likely means of measurement and the number of observations. So Greg's 100-meter race results. Okay, so you can look here. You can see that there's 7 number of observations. There's 7. Okay, and we're talking about time here. So your attribute is going to be the time it took him to run the race. In other words, because your attribute is just what are you measuring here? You're measuring the time it took to run a race. More than likely, because they did it in seconds, you have a watch or maybe a stopwatch would probably be a good thing to use. Oh, no, my bad. I got ahead of myself. I'm sorry. The unit of measure is in seconds. Likely means that he did it is the stopwatch. Okay. So again, attribute, what is he measuring? The unit, in this case it's seconds. How did he probably do that? You could put down a watch, but a stopwatch would be a little more accurate. And then how many times did they observe it? 7 times. Okay, let's look at another one. All right, so here's another one. Daily water usage. So this is how you need to look at this. The Andrews family's water use. So first we're going to start with attribute. I'm going to do different colors too. Okay, so the attribute. Attribute, in this case, just look at the title. Gives you right there. It's the family's daily water use. Okay, I'm going to switch colors again. Okay, then the next thing we do is, and if you forget, you can just go back here and look too. So we did attribute. Okay, done. Now we're going to do unit of measure. So unit of measure. Okay, and so unit of measure is gallons. They're measuring it in gallons. Okay, and if you forget again, okay, so we've done attributes, unit of measures, and then how did they measure it? Oops, sorry, I keep hitting the wrong thing. Oops, changed my color. So here's where we're at. I'm going to say, how was measurement taken? Okay, so now this one. So we're talking about daily water usage in, say, like a home. You're not gonna, how do we record that? Well, you have something on your house, because how does the city know how much water to charge you? In other words, the city has to be able to monitor how much water you're using in your house. So the way they do that is you have a, oops, I used the wrong pen. They use a water meter. Otherwise, the cities would not know how much to charge you for your water. Okay, and then the last one is number of observations. Okay, so how many observations did they make? And you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And there you go. So this is all you're looking at. What are they measuring? Attributes. How did they measure it in gallons? In this case, they would have had to use a water meter. And then how many observations? 14. Okay, here's one more. This is probably what you'll see in Think Central, something more like this, where you just click and drag. So like, let's start, I'll just leave it with my blue pen. Attributes. So what are they measuring? They're measuring heights, and you can just look at the title. A lot of times the title gives you the attribute. So height of 6th graders. Okay, now how did they measure them? They measured them in inches. Okay, and then more than likely they probably used, you could put tape measure, but it doesn't give you that option. It gives you yardstick. So more than likely, in this case, they used a yardstick. And then how many do they have here? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 times 3, I have 21 observations. And that is the extent of this lesson. Attribute. What are you looking at? What are they, and then basically what are they using to measure? Like they're using a yardstick, so inches, and then how many observations? And that is the extent of this lesson. I told you it's a pretty simple lesson. The next couple lessons are pretty short. They won't take too long to do. So hopefully this will help you get through the Think Central lesson.